Once a woman told my mother, long before I was born, you got a boy child coming now. You gonna be son of a gun. He gonna make all you girls all jump and shout.
Hi everybody, and welcome to All Things Irish and Rock and Roll. This is produced and edited by Brendan Finglas. Pretty soon you're going to hear the stories of one of Ireland's greatest rock and roll singers, Ditch Cassidy. And I first met Ditch when I was about 18 years old, and I was in a pub called the Oval. And with my friends, the Prowlers, was another group that I had, very young. And we spotted Ditch Cassidy in a corner there having a pint. So we had already seen Ditch and the King Bees perform in Dublin, and we thought they were just amazing, and we thought that Ditch was the most brilliant of front men you could ever have. So I went over to him and I introduced myself. Hi, I'm Benny White. I have a band called the Prowlers, and we saw you recently and you were great, and have you any advice? And in his sort of half American twang said, yeah, sure, man, just, believe in yourself and you'll get where you're going to go, like me. I mean, I've got, I can buy anything I want now. And I said, really, to myself, I mean, he knew he couldn't. And I knew he couldn't. But out of respect for Ditch Cassidy, that's what you said. He was flamboyant. He was charismatic. He'd everything that a rock star could really have, And when Brendan Finglas approached me to help him put together a video recording of some of the beat and group singers and musicians from the 60s, I jumped at it. I jumped at the chance, and we both agreed one of the first people we could have on this project was Ditch Cassidy. So in a moment you're going to hear about, from the man himself, Ditch Cassidy, his trials, his tribulations and his triumphs all around Europe. And it's with great pleasure that we can actually bring Ditch and his stories to you. We hope you enjoy it. And so without further ado, should I say, Ditch, when did your journey start into the rock and roll scene here in Ireland?
Well, I was living in Harmstown Road, and one night a fella came to my door. His name was Harry Bradshaw Jr. and he lived in Ennifort. And he knocked on the door and I answered, and he said, we're thinking of getting a little skiffle group together. Would you like to come over and sing? I said, okay. So I went over to Ennifort Park and into his front room, and he had a little microphone on the stand, and Mick O'Doherty was there with an acoustic. Harry was playing bass, and there was another fellow with a snare drum and a hi-hat. Alan somebody. And we started. And the first song was All My Lovin'. And I was amazed at the Mick O'Doherty, the rhythm, the speed of that rhythm. So that was the first band. Then we did a couple of Buddy Holly songs and Peggy Sue and this, that, and the other. Then we got a gig. First gig was in Sutton Lawn Tennis Club. Now Harry Bradshaw Jr. was son of Harry Bradshaw.
Of course,
the golfer,
yeah.
So we got the gig, and then we got a few little other gigs and here and there, and tennis clubs mainly and stuff. And then I met up with Eddie Shaw. Now Eddie at that time had a motorbike, and it was a 125. Everyone else had, whoever had a motorbike was a 50.
That's a Honda 50.
That was it.
I had
He had a 125, and his hair was long, black hair down to here, leathers. And he played rhythm. So I started with him, and I can't remember who else, but that was the one-nighters.
Okay.
And then Sound City appeared.
Which was the first ever beat
The first
in
ever,
Ireland.
yeah.
Not just Dublin,
Big
in Ireland.
yeah. And it was Dave Robinson and Rusty Simpson. I think Rusty was English, wasn't he? I'm pretty sure he was. And Dave was a photographer. And so it was their baby, and they set it up. And then in came Ian Wickham, Ian McGarry, Bluesville.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then Peter Adler. And then you had like Colin Wilkinson would be down there, and what's the other guy? Benny Tubers, was it? So this was how we were support to them. We would do a little spot, and they'd come on, and we'd watch them, and they were just ridiculously good, you know. I mean,
They were, yeah.
You know.
The cream.
Yeah. So then, make a long story short, you know, we played out, I don't know for how long, it could have been a few months, you know. And then the word went out that I was singing, and this guy come down one night, Alan Weinrib, and he approached me and he says, how much are you getting, how many gigs are you getting per week? And I said, where we can get a gig. He said, well, look, I will guarantee you £15 a week.
For the band or for you?
For me. You come and join this band, and they're called the King Bees.
Ditch was an institution. I was a member of the Heraldites Club, Uncle Bill, and they used to put on these events. And one of the events was in the SFX. And I think there was a couple of show bands on. I think BP Fallon was actually on. And then who comes on? The King Bees. And they knocked the socks off me. Little did I know that it was Ditch Cassidy, lead singer, who later on became a close friend and played with him on numerous occasions. And as I say, Ditch is an institution. And a great soul, man.
Well, I remember going to see the King Bees on the Dublin Quays. Now, I think it was the Father Matthew Hall.
It was indeed, yeah.
Would I be right in saying that you guys had sort of striped yellow and black to look like a
This
big...
was Alan Weinrib. Well, Weinrib's trimmings along the keys.
Yeah.
Beside McBurney's.
Yeah,
He had all the, the trimmings.
that's right.
We get the black polo necks and we just put the gold stripes.
How long did that band last?
The Kingleys, they went through a few changes. Howard Spear, now they were Jewish, obviously, and his father was in the tailoring business, and they were bespoke tailors. So he was kind of pulled out of the band. And then a friend of Brian Harris, Mick Rafferty, from Enniskerry, he came in on rhythm. And he was much better rhythm, and he could sing a little bit, and he looked like Roger McGuinn.
From the boards.
Yeah. Morris looked amazing. I mean, he's just very handsome looking dude, you know, and mother, father, doctors, and all the connections, and great kid of Ludwig, champagne, drums, you know. He was all right, you know. I'm not going to say anymore. Sorry, Morris. I know. I want to go and live in Marbella. Get me a nice place. Anyway, no.
So what year are we roughly up to?
Around 65.
65, okay.
Probably late 65. So then Alan Weinrib was good friend with Tony Boland. So Tony Boland was setting up his own indie record label, Tempo. So up came this idea, we go record. So the song suggested was My Little Red Book. And it was Burt Bacharach, Hal David, it was keyboard orientated song. Great song. And then I'm a King Bee on the B-side. So we arrived, and it was being done in Ardmore Studios on the sound stage. Never been done, apparently, on the film, the soundtrack. So we arrived there, and this guy comes in, the producer, and he's all dressed in a Carnaby Street, best of gear, and bells, long blonde, so beautiful hair and everything. You know who he was, you know what I mean? And Tony says, oh, this is John Paul. Right, okay. He's going to produce the record, you know? So we went in, and the band tried to do the My Little Red Book, and it was a little... It was very jazzy. They couldn't do it. So they brought in Johnny Wadham on drums, Tommy Ellis on double bass, Dick Keeling on Larry organ, and John Paul Jones on Steinway. And that was
it.
That was the line for the A side.
Wow.
And the band played on the B side. And it was John Paul Jones. We didn't know.
Wow.
John Paul Jones. And he was smoking these funny gold walls, and we thought he was smoking funny cigarettes. We were so naive. But anyway, the record went out, and we got on TV. Picking the Pops, I think it was. B.P. Fallon, Larry Gogan, and whoever else. So we had a gig in Cork the night the TV show was on. So we're travelling to Cork, and we stopped in Port Leeds or Nace or somewhere. We went into the pub and Black and White, Fuzzy.
That's us.
So we're playing in Cork in the Students' Club. You remember it?
I do, yeah.
Students' Club.
We're there, yeah.
So we got there, and the big posters up and everything, and the King Bee mime, and My Little Red Book, and CW, I'm a King Bee. Support, taste.
Oh, Rory Gallagher, wow.
Well, when we got in, we got on the stage. I had this suit. My aunt made this lovely, creamy, nice suit, and a black satin shirt and all. And so we hardly hit a note, and they were dragging lumps out of us off the stage. You know, I mean, it was mad. It was crazy. It was crazy.
Exciting.
Yeah, it was.
Really exciting.
And so anyway,
Well, to appear on television at that time, as a young man,
Yeah.
it was a great achievement for you, because there's lots of other young men out there who just would give their right arm to do that. And here you're doing it. And people were really impressed, more impressed than they are today, about a person appearing on television.
Yeah, and I mean, the whole idea, the whole concept behind it with Alan Weinrib, and they wanted to make money.
Exactly. Jewish
People want to make money, and they're good at it. You know, and they can put you, they can make you or break you. And if their project fails, within their religion, wherever it is, they'll be funded again 3 times, I think.
Wow. Yeah.
So, and then Tony Boland, of course, I thought he was related to Morris, but he wasn't really. And the record,
how did it do?
It didn't really do.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, Irish Beat Group records
It just didn't do anything. It was beautifully produced and everything. So far we have come to the end of '66, and then a man called Dermot Latham approached us and asked us, would we like to play in the Star Club in Hamburg? So of course we said, yeah, that's where the Beatles played. Yeah, let's go there. And if you can get us there, we'll go. So he arranged everything, and he said, oh, yes, Manfred Weisley, that's a great friend of mine. I'll get us a gig in the Star, lads, don't worry. So we packed the bags, and when we left for the boat, there were crowds of people at the North Wall waving to us. People drove up the Holt Head and were still waving at the boat. My mother, my father, and sister, brother, whatever. And so we all went to Hamburg. And it was Dougie McElwain on drums then at that stage. We didn't realise that it had to be 18 and over to stay in a German club after 10 o'clock. He was only 17 and a half and 3/4 maybe. Dougie McElwain.
Okay.
So anyway, we got there, and then we got us into the Star Club, and we were doing the audition in the afternoon, and we were doing a Rolling Stones song. I think it was the Midnight Rambler, and it was going well. The crowd loved us, and then we saw Dermot going into a little. I saw going into a little office in the corner, and boom, yeah, this is it. And a few minutes later, the door opened again, and Dermot came flying back out through it. Boom. And a couple of big muscle guys beating the shit out of him. And what's this? I'm still doing the song, and next thing we've been told, get you and your band and fuck off. Simple terms. So we had to, and they threw us out. Dermot was taken to hospital. We didn't know where to go. We brought the equipment, the Vox AC30s and the 50, and the drum kit. We came up with the idea, let's go to the Hauptbahnhof and leave it in the left luggage. And then we're free of the equipment, and then we can move around. Got the left luggage, they wouldn't take it. They wanted money up front. So we were stuck. So the only thing we could do was find a little corner, make a little house out of and then we took turns in sleeping. Now we didn't have sleeping bags. Sleeping bags weren't even invented. We didn't know about them anyway. We didn't have them. And we stayed there for maybe 1-2 days, guarding the equipment, and some would sleep, and then wit's end, we just said, that's it. We're going to a pension, checking in, and whatever happens after that. If we have to, we're going to have to phone home and get the money and go back. So we got into the pension, and Pat Fay was with us. And Dermot, I think, was still in hospital. So Pat was going out every day. We were sitting in the rooms, just twiddling our thumbs. And my ma had put a half pound of Calvita cheese. But they were in the silver foil.
Yeah.
So I was there and slicing it off. We had rations. We're all in the one room. Everybody. But we had single shillings. And somebody had said to us before we went, if you're going to Germany, bring as many single shillings as you can, because they're the exact same size as a mark, a German mark, and the same weight, and they work in the machines. So we were in the machines and got apples and Coke, smokes, bread, there's your bit of cheese now. And so this went on for a few days, and the pension owner was sort of getting worried about money, Geld, wo ist denn die Geld? So we're saying, oh, it's on the way, we're waiting on the wire. Waiting on the wire. So, anyway, Pat, in the meantime, was going out. Boom. Then one day he comes back, and we're at the cheese had run out, and we're depths of depression now. This is it, and we're all sitting there. And he walks in, and he goes, and he's smiling. And he goes, who'd like to eat? And we're all going, you like to eat? Eat you now. He was a joker, you know, you messing. So anyway, okay, don't want to eat. He pulled out 400 marks. 400 mark bills, like that. Who wants to eat? Bam! Out the door. Down to the nearest place. Big nosh. He got us a gig.
Oh, okay.
And he got a down payment, 400 marks.
Wow.
Got a month, 4,000 marks. And it was in the Hit Club, which was right across the road from the Star Club. So we were there for ostensibly 1 month. And then we stayed 2 months. And it was incredible. It was incredible times. Like, we'd finish our gig, and the name of that street is Grosse Freiheit Straße, which in German means Great Freedom Street. So you walk up, that's a Star Club, Hit Club. So you walk up, and then you're on the Reeperbahn. And we turn it halfway up the Reeperbahn is the Top 10 Club, which is where all the bands went after they finished their stints and different, we all meet and stay till 5 or 6 in the morning, you know. So at that time, like Screaming Lord Sutch was there, and he's kind of resident for a good while there. But I got very friendly with his bass player, Dave. And then there was another band called the Black Warriors from Birmingham. Rory Gallagher used to come in. He was playing out in Kiel and Bremerhaven at that time, with a 3-piece. So he couldn't crack Hamburg. He couldn't get in. Couldn't get a gig. The Germans wanted 4 people on stage or 5 people or more. You know, 3-piece didn't make any. So Rory used to come in, and Pat was now starting to be a little bit of an entrepreneur, booking bands here, bringing over he brought over the Creatures. He brought over some show bands from the country, and so, you know. So Rory would come in, and he talked to, he was very shy. He wouldn't talk to the rest of the musicians. But I remember him calling Pat aside and saying, Pat, tell me, Rory's looking to try and get a gig in Hamburg here, you know. So I can't get it. They don't want a 3-piece, you know. So anyway, long story short, we got an offer to go to Augsburg. Now, none of us knew where Augsburg was, even, you know. But it's just below Munich. But it seemed like a great offer at the time. And there was a lot of American troops based there. It was 60,000 in Augsburg alone. Yeah. So we were guaranteed all of this, and blah, blah, blah. Got down to the place, and of course we were hoodwinked again, and we travelled nearly 2,000 kilometres and tired, and the boss wanted to hear us straight away and play. And then, this is not what I expected, you know. I mean, maybe not so much money, you know. So we were stuck again. So what do you do? So we started playing there. We played there 1 month, and then we got good, and people liked us, and the GIs loved us, and the Germans loved us. And it was like an old beer holler, you know, the typical German beer holler with the stage and the curtains and all that business. So 2 months went by, and it kept getting better. And we're saying, George, we've got to go. And George Zimmerman was the owner. We got to go. We got to go somewhere else. Oh, no, boys. You stay. I'll give you more money. Look, the equipment break down. I buy the equipment. I'll get you new clothes. You can live upstairs for free. Free food. Free everything. Okay. Stayed another month. And then sometimes at the end of the month, he'd pay us. And then we'd play Chicago. You know, the dice. Oh, yeah. He'd win all the fucking money back. Nearly. So we were there for 6 months. 6 months.
Of course, you guys were young. You're still a little naive.
Oh, just
you know. Yeah.
we went naive after Hamburg. I'll tell you that much. We learned quite a lot. But anyway, we transformed the beer holler. We got him to bring down the ceiling, the soundproof, drop down, hang ceiling, and then do a proper stage, kind of a 3-tier stage, and lighting and the equipment. So we were using him, so we walked on the stage, the gear was there every night, you just bump. But we would play up to 7 hours a night. With, 15-minute break on the hour, so and then maybe an hour and a half break sort of in between, One afternoon we were doing Manic Depression, Jimi Hendrix.
Okay.
And Jim came in, and he wasn't really interested in trying to learn the song, to get it down. It's a tricky piece, And Jay's looking at him, are you going to fucking learn this song or what, Did you listen to it, or have you got the bass? And Jay, and then it all went kind of a bit funny. And Jay saw something, and he said, what's up, Jim? And then Jim came out and said, look, I'm leaving the band. I've got a better offer. I want to go home. I want to continue with my apprenticeship in the dry cleaning, and that's it, So Jay was saying, what? So not only are we losing our bass player, I'm losing a vocalist, and Mick Rafferty then has to switch on the bass. And Pat Fay arrives then with a Volkswagen from Hamburg. The PA we had was on HP, and his father had signed for it, and we hadn't paid any money on it. So we thought that, Pat was looking after all of that. You know what I mean? So Pat's there to arrive to pick up the fucking PA. So the PA is now gone. Jim's gone. And apparently I left as well. I had no memory of it. But Jay never forgot it.
Did you come back to Dublin?
I came back to Dublin with Pat and Jim. I don't even remember it, Benny. It's true as God. And then I was home, and I felt, I don't know, guilty. I tried to, we had no PA, we had nothing, no bass player, I didn't see the point.
In other words, the band
Well, Jay was still in Augsburg.
He was still there, yeah.
Dougie was still there, and Mick Rafferty. So I went back. But in the meantime, Jay had kind of hooked up with some German guys and playing with them and being, And so that went on for a while, and no, it wasn't the same then after that. So we came back. So let's go on to early 68. The Creatures came back from Hamburg as well. We came back, King Bees. Both bands split. And then half and half came together. Ray McDonald on drums, Jay Malone, Frank Boylan, and Davy Hall. And that was the News. Here is the News.
They were. I remember going to see the News. Actually, impressive band. Really good band. What sort of gigs did you go abroad when you were with the News, or just purely in Ireland?
Oh, the News just started traveling back and forward, back. There was the agency here. Tony McNeve, was it? Tony McNeve, I'm pretty sure. He was kind of managing us. Everybody would. And he had the American contract, the American basis contract. So we just kept putting bands together who wanted to travel, go to Germany, do the gigs. And we would fulfill the contract and then maybe get some gigs in German clubs and whatever. Mm-hmm. But it was back and forward, back and forward.
Yeah.
So, I missed out on a lot of things that were going on here at that time.
Of course.
Yeah, 68 was back and forward, different lineups. And we played every single American bass at one time. Ryan Mine Air Base, like, you know, the people that came in, they were all top acts like Sam and Dave and Clarence Frogman Henry, you know,
Yeah.
Fats Domino. This girl band from Chicago, there was 6 piece, they were amazing. I mean, we had a great time, you know, and supporting them. Never, one of the lineups had Brian Harris on board and Frank, Davy Hall, and Ray. And we went to Bray to pick Brian up. We got to his house. And Frank went up to the door, you know, to get Brian and help.
Is this to go to Germany?
Yeah, to hop in the van now, we're going to Germany, you know,
Okay.
get the case. And Frank goes up and the door opens, the whole family standing there. The granny, the grandpa, everybody standing there. No sign of Brian. And Frank's going, where's Brian? And the mother's going, he's not going. He's not going with you lot to Germany. There's no way he's going. You know, and they're all going, yeah. Get out of me way. And Frank stormed past him, ran up the stairs. Brian is hiding under the bed. You know? So he came back out, he wouldn't come out. No, that was it. So he goes into a panic. Fuck, what are we going to do with contract? We have to be there, time and all this.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So Davey Hall, does anybody know anybody that plays guitar with an amp? You know, and Davey Hall says, the fella in Finglas, I know, he's up beside me. He plays, has he got a guitar? Yeah. Has he got an amp? Yeah. Does he? Has he got a voice? No. Would he go? Yeah. Let's go get him. So we drag your man out of the thing. Get in the van. He ain't got
to
a,
Germany.
so we're on the stage in Ryan Mine Air Base. And I mean, it's a big fucking... Now, where mine is the guitars, you know, and we were doing all the soul stuff like Tighten Up. You remember Archie Bell and the Drells and Tighten Up, bam, bam, zoom. And the guy plugged in the new guitars. He hadn't got a fucking clue, man. He hadn't got a clue, man. And we said, okay, the contract says 5 people on stage. Right, you just stand there, look good, pull out the jack and strum away there. So Davy Hall took over on the guitar. Mm-hmm. And the crowd went crazy for us. It was unbelievable. Yeah. All these black guys coming up and saying, I thought it was going to be a disaster, but it wasn't, you know. So we got through that, and it was back and forth, back and forth. Then, 69, along comes Timothy Leary. And St. John Connolly, you know, with Frank. And St. John was probably, he suffered from, what do you call it, agoraphobia.
Oh, okay.
Seriously, like he couldn't handle crowds. So we got him, Frank somehow persuaded him to come out to Germany in the summer of 69, in Frankfurt. And he played with us, and he was just absolutely amazing player, you know what I mean? There's something about him, you know, there's frets on the guitar, but it's the way they touched, you know what I mean? And, so anyway, that was 69, and...
You're still the News at this time?
No, no.
Okay.
The News had... So now we were going into different names like Chillum.
Okay.
The Leprechauns.
Little band.
All sorts of crazy names. And we were very popular we were back in Augsburg again, same club. Now this club had suddenly become like a mecca, you know, for big bands coming in. You had Jeff Beck coming in, Wishbone Ash, Jimi Hendrix played there, you know, Cream played. And then we had a manager who owned the Big Apple in Munich, Max Ammersberger. So we're playing this gig in Augsburg in the Rat House, which is like the Mansion House, you know. Now, Augsburg is the oldest city in Germany. It was built by Caesar Augustus, hence Augsburg, you know. So, anyway, we were a big name band at that time. And we had a great following with the American dependents, the young girls and whatever, and the Germans. So we're on the bill, and top of the bill, Deep Purple. So we walked in the afternoon, we had a look. Next thing we see, banks of Marshall stacks.
Well, they had the reputation of being the loudest band in the world.
The whole stage was, and we walk in with our little Vox XC30s and Jay Lewis, fuck's sake, what are we going to do here? And next thing, this guy walks on the stage, and it's Richie Blackmore. And he sees Jay, and he goes, Jesus, man, how's it going, man? Haven't seen you since Hamburg.
Wow.
They were the Black Warriors.
Good connection.
So Richie's gone, and the rest of them come in, and they all bottles of vodka under their arm, and they wouldn't talk to us, and locked themselves in the dressing room and all that shit. Fuck them. So anyway, Richie said, I said, how are we going to play against this? Richie said, don't worry, we'll DI you into the... Oh, DI, what does that mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No, we connect you, your Vox, into the stacks. Great. But we went on anyway, and this guy, this German guy, he was a photographer, he gave me this Moroccan caftan to wear for the stage that night, because he was going to do all the shots, you know. Mm-hmm. And he did. He took some amazing shots that night.
You still have any?
I don't know. I don't. All of the stuff I had like that went missing in Lanzarote, and that's
another story.
another, yeah, highway to hell. Anyway, so we did that gig, and we were still playing around the area afterwards. It was amazing. It was an amazing night. And then we decided we'd take a break. And we wanted to go down to, we picked Nancy in France. We said, look, we'll just take a week off. And we said, we will drive down and boom, boom, boom. So that morning, we had a nice apartment in Augsburg. And these two GIs arrived. And they were only back from Vietnam. One of them was, anyway. And they had a big, big American car with the bench seats. There was only 4 of us going to France. And we were going in our own van. And the GIs were going, oh man, we'll all go together in our car, man, easier, bench seat, 6 of us fit in there, perfect. So we said, okay, do that. We get in the car, anyway, driving off down, Ben. Next thing, one of the guys pulls out a big bag of grass he brought back from Vietnam. Starts rolling up. That's fucking so lethal. So anyway, we're all driving down the road, everybody's smoking. So we got as far as Mulhouse, but Mulhouse. It's on the border of France and Germany. And of course, the driver couldn't go any further. He couldn't, he was so stoned, man. Fucking had to stop. So we pull into the railway station, car park, and settled down for the night. Oh, crashed out. Woke up the next morning, we're surrounded. Frontier police.
From France or
From France.
France.
Guns pointed, get out of the car.
Not a pretty sight to see when you wake up in the morning.
So apparently some young customs officer on the way to work spotted the car. American Army registration plates. 2 GIs with a shaven head going in here and 4 hippies in the car. Now he didn't know from which direction the car had come. So he thought, I've got it. I've got the hippie US Army connection here. They're coming up from Spain. The car is probably loaded down with it. So the next thing we're in a convoy and we're going to this place and they jack up the car and boom, boom, boom and tearing off doors and everything. And all that was there was this one guy who had this
One little bag.
bag of grass. So we're on the way to the state and we're going here. Get rid of the... And even his mate is saying, dump it, man. Fuck it out, man. And we're, no, man, I brought this all from Vietnam. You know, get rid of it and we're all going to get rid of it. So anyway, he rolls down the window when you put it in the pocket. So we thought it was gone. Great, nothing to worry about. Got to the station and the next thing we're all sitting in this thing and then suddenly we're being dragged into a room. You! Marijuana! In pocket! GI! Pocket! You put! Oh? What are you talking about? So what they were actually saying, you put the marijuana in the GI's pocket.
Man.
And they started beating us up. Boom, boom. And then nobody could tell because we didn't have anything. You know what I mean? So we were all dragged off to the local prison.
Including the two GIs.
But you see, they didn't want any truck with the American authorities.
Of course.
You know, American Army, lawyers and all that. Let's blame the hippies. Blame the hippies. So we were eventually locked up in this dungeon, like Count of Monte Cristo or something, you know. We were there like 10 days. And Willie Bean was drummer.
Yeah.
So I was sharing with him, and Frank Boylan was in with Davy, and the other two GIs were in together. So they were taking us out and interrogating us every day, and we were dragged through the streets in handcuffs and all this, into the tribunal. And like we were the Charles Manson fucking terrorist group or some shit, man, you know what I mean? And
drug smugglers.
10 days, and this was in December. And we were 10 days there, and my father, God rest him, he was out playing, he was terrible. It hit the news, and he was selling papers in the shop, and he just didn't know what to do. He was out playing golf. And the old course in Malahide, you know, do you remember the 9-hole? And the man he was playing with was a brother of the Irish ambassador to France. So we told him the story, and this man got onto his brother, and they pulled a few strings, and they got us out.
Of course, the two GIs, as far as I know, were set free and they returned back into Germany with no questions asked.
We were let out first, and we thought the GIs were waiting for us. They weren't. We're there out in light clothes, you know, high heel boots on, in the snow. We know where to go. No money, nothing. So next thing we're back at the door, banging the door, let us back in, you know. And then they wouldn't let us back in. Then eventually the gates opened and out came the two GIs. So now the car was over in the impounded in the whatever. Okay. The snow was up to here, of course. Car wouldn't start. Mm-hmm. So we all had to push. It was big old Chrysler, whatever it was, man, you know. We eventually got it going. And we got on the road and we got back to Augsburg. And we had a beautiful apartment at the time, and our manager was living in the same apartment. Now, at this point, they had shaved our heads and beards, everything.
At the border?
No, in the prison.
Okay.
Oh, they beat us up, and Frank Boylan he had keys driven into his neck. You know what I mean? It really was horrific, honest to God. So we got back to the apartment, and we still had the keys. So we went to the keys. Fucking door wouldn't open. Locks were changed. Went down to Max's, down to 3 doors down, and banging on his door. He opens up the door. You looking at us? He didn't even recognize us. Because no hair.
Yeah.
And then he didn't want to know us. The German cops were now looking for us. So he dropped. He didn't want to know us, and you can't stay here. You've got to go. So we went down to a bar. I can't remember exactly what happened, but the GIs, the two GIs, they came back around and they realised our situation. So they arrived with all these sub-zero sleeping bags. Next thing we're living out in the forest. And they're bringing in, every day they come down with sea rations, the sea rations, all these little tins of, this and that, and biscuits and the toilet paper and 3 cigarettes and a bit of dope. And we'd have a big fire and we'd sit there in the middle of the forest. Fucking police looking for us, Gestapo looking for us everywhere, man, you know what I mean? So that went on for a few weeks. And then we decided we'd had enough one night. So we arrived back in Dublin, notorious now at this stage.
Already it had been in the papers about your drug charge, if
yes,
you like, yeah.
Indeed. And like I said, my father arranged to get us out. So I went to Bonn, and my ticket was waiting there for me. So I had said to the lads, look, my father, you can't get everybody home. Your family's going to have to do whatever.
Yeah.
But I said, what I'll do, I'll go back and I'll write the actual story of what happened and bring it to the newspapers and get them to refute all of this
nonsense.
Yeah. So I went to Bonn, got the thing, came back, and I wrote the story. And I brought it to the Independent and the press, and they didn't want to know. So then we were persona non grata. Every club that we helped to build, they would not allow us in. They wouldn't give no gigs, nothing. And then along came John Ryan, the Club of Go-Go, and he took us in.
Very well respected club promoter, John Ryan. Yeah.
So then came White Magic.
Another band, yeah.
And that was St. John Connolly, Willie Bean, Frank Boylan, and myself. And the Go-Go was our base. And Frank was somewhat of an electronic genius. Mm-hmm. He built the system, the sound system in the Go-Go. And then he eventually he added stuff to the Vox amps and whatever. And then he eventually had us all on headphones on stage. So we could hear exactly every single thing we were playing. So then we started playing songs like from Buffalo Springfield, like Broken Arrow and Expecting to Fly, Hello Mr. Soul, a lot of Hendrix, Zeppelin, very psychedelic, kind of mean. But no, the audience didn't know Buffalo Springfield, and they thought they were our songs.
Your stuff.
So we never said anything.
Yeah. Why?
Yeah. So that went on for a while, and then Davy Hall arrived back from London, and things kind of went a bit scatterbrained from there. I went in for a rehearsal one day in a Go-Go, and they wouldn't let me in. So Davy had somehow persuaded him, said, this is off the wall, he's gone, whatever. And that was...
You were out of the band?
That was, yeah.
Really?
So, Frank then,
So your reputation, as it were, continued on from that incident.
Yes.
On the border. That continued on for a long time.
oh yeah,
afterwards.
yeah. So I continued playing then, but other people came along. I can't even remember now.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was doing a gig, probably in the Countdown, and an A&R man called Scott English. So this would be around 71, early 71. So, he saw me, and he was scouting for Decca. So he went back to London, and he said, I think I found a singer like Joe Cocker type singer. I think we like to record him. So they sent me some songs to do, and so I was rehearsing with some musicians. I can't even remember. But the musicians found out that the deal was Decca were only interested in me.
Mm-hmm.
So then they left. So they left me high and dry about 2 weeks before the audition, which was going to be done in Zhivago's.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in a turmoil. I didn't know what to do. So I went into town, up to Stephen's Green, walked in, beautiful sunny day, and walked in the gates, and there on the right hand in a little circle, the Eric Bell, a whole bunch of other hippies and sitting around smoking. And I walked in and he goes, "Ah, Didge, man, what about you, man? Don't look too happy, man, you know." Sit down here, you know. So I told him the story.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Didge, don't worry, man. I'm meeting Phil and Brian in Bewley's. Come on, we'll go down and have a coffee. We'll back you."
Were Thin Lizzy actually on the go at that
Yeah.
time? Had they just started?
Yeah, they just, yeah.
Okay.
Well, that'd be 1970, early 71.
Mm-hmm.
So that was all arranged. We went, did the audition, and Frank Rogers arrived, and this guy Scott English and a few other people. And it was great. It was a great audition.
One day, we got through the news, the grapevine, we heard that this guy from Decca Records was coming over to Dublin to check out Dublin music talent, to sort of build Ireland up a little bit. And he was Irish himself. Frank Rogers worked for Decca. He came over, and one of the people he wanted to watch was Ditch Cassidy, the soul singer. And Ditch is an excellent soul singer and a great front man. And for some, again, this is why I think it was all meant to be. Ditch's band folded up, or something happened a week before the audition. And for some reason he picked us, Thin Lizzy, to back him. I don't know why, but he did. And he says, "Listen lads, there's a guy from Decca coming over. I've no band. He wants to audition me next week. Can you help us out?" "Yeah, of course." So we arrived separately from Ditch, and when we got there, Ditch was already there. We set up our gear. Ditch went out the front, started singing these sort of soul things that we were making up, and we were just in the background. And I remember Frank Rogers standing in the middle of this empty club, watching us, with one of our managers standing beside him. So Ditch did about 5 songs.
So they had no idea that Thin Lizzy was Thin Lizzy.
Okay.
They thought, that's
His
that's
backing
your
musician.
this
Yeah.
my backing back.
Yeah.
I said, no, that's Thin Lizzy. Oh. So then they had another thought, and boom, boom, boom. So I was okay. I passed the audition. I was through. X Factor.
So the next round.
Yeah, the seat. I got the seat. so, so they came back and they auditioned St. Lizzie in the Peacock Theatre. And then a month or so later, we all met up in the barge in Portobello, signed the contracts with a lovely liquid lunch and whatever. And I walked out of there with a cheque for £10,000.
Would be, at that time, serious money.
Now, Brian Chute was my manager then, the band centre. And when I walked out, he said, no, Ditch, wasn't that great? And the look, and Jesus, let me have a look at that cheque now, you know. And lovely, isn't that lovely, you know? And did Chris Tarrant. Boom. Now, you don't want that, Ditch. You'd only run amok with that. Now, I'll put that in the bank for you. And whenever you need, you come and see your Uncle Brian. So I said, okay. So I trusted him. And I set out then to put a band together and do an album, which was the contract.
You this time,
yeah,
not just the band, but centered around you.
Yeah, I had to do one album. That was the contract, and one single from the album. That was the whole deal. So suddenly, everybody wanted to be in the band. 10 grand in the bank. So we got this place out in Portrane, Butterley's Field, and it was there was a lot of little summer houses, shacks, basically, you know. And there was a stone cottage in the middle. Those two guys had that, and they were Eddie Mallon, Shay Kearns, real hippie. And in the middle of the field was this old train carriage. I was kind of half sunk. It was kind of a slight angle, basically. A really old carriage, and with a big sort of room at one end and another at the other. But in the middle was the big section. So we set up all the gear there and left it there permanently. So we'd all go over to the shacks and smoke away and this whatever. And then we feel, right, okay, let's go play. And we just play on into the night, and stuff just came out. So anyway, I did a lot of stuff during, say, over a 9-month period. Like we put on a concert in the Mansion House. Brought Roy Harper, and he was top of the bill. And we did a 3-day open air thing in Ballyvaughan. And various other little things like that. And Skid Row did the Ballyvaughan thing, and Brush had the biggest PA at the time. Okay. I think it was about 1,000 watt. Okay. So Mellow Candle.
Yes.
You remember them?
Yes.
They played. And with some Welsh bands and this, that, other English bands come over. But it was I think it was the first open air festival. I could be wrong, but it certainly was before Liston and Varna. This guy came in. He was left a farm, with the father or whatever, you know. And he came up into the band centre, and he walked in and said to Brian, said, "I'm up now from Ballyvaughan, and I'm thinking of putting on a festival down there now, and I'm thinking now." And Brian said, "Yeah, and who are you thinking of getting?" He said, "Well, I was thinking of getting Led Zeppelin maybe, and The Who." And and Brian's looking at him, "How much have you got?" "Well, about 2 or 3 grand now." You know? And he said, "Now hang on a minute." He said, "I can get you, I have this band here now, Gypsy Rock, this Cassidy Gypsy Rock. He'll do it for you. And maybe I can get you Skid Row." I said, "Yeah, man, going, well, I have the land and I have the whole thing and it's all sorted and everything else." And so that's how that happened, you know. Wow. And that came about. But that was, and so all during that time, we were still writing songs. Mm-hmm. And we went into Trend Studios and we would put down one track maybe 2 tracks in a night. And we eventually put down 6, complete, total, massive, finished, in the can. And there was a song called Green Dream. It was kind of a Celtic kind of thing, you know, just a very simple riff. It just and it just built layer upon layer. All the instruments would come in. There was 6 or 8 musicians, all sorts of playing everything, you know. I mean, all suddenly in the studio. Give that man a mic, you know. And so anyway, Work Together was another one, and it was sort of about northern troubles, and it was very heavy, you know. And so anyway, in between that, we went to Willie being with Bewley's one evening, and I'd gone to the Uncle Brian to get the weekly pay packet, get the money to pay the guys and all that. I had a few of them on retainers. Yeah. I was paying the rent, I was paying the dope bill, paying the marshals, the truck and this and that. Yeah. And so we're in Bewley's, and Willie's reading the NME, and he suddenly sees this little ad. Free concert. Glastonbury. You know, Worthy Farm. Huh? Look at that. Free. So I read it. It's only a little column. So I said, right, that's it, we're going. So and it must have been about 14 of us. I'm back up to the band centre. Brian, get me more money. I need more money. So we all headed over to Glastonbury. The first one.
So that's where your 10,000 went?
No. 9 months. That went on, I suppose, over a period of 9 months. Got the 6 songs done, boom, nearly there on the album. And then I went one Friday up to the band centre and walked in. Fran Quigley was there. Yeah. Fran used to work for Brian.
That's right.
And I walked in and I said, hey, Fran, where's Brian? And he looked at me, he's gone. Brian's gone. At what time will you back, you know? No, Ditch. Read my lips. Brian is gone.
That was the end of your...
That was it.
Advance money from...
That was the end of that. And the songs.
And the songs.
The worst part. Now that is that's the thing that hurts the most.
Of course.
Because you couldn't redo them. I mean, I don't even know. I mean, I know that the core of who was there. Lee McKenna was there. Davy Hall, Willie Bean, Jimmy Faulkner, Jimmy Gibson.
Mm-hmm. Who held the master?
Victor McCullough. Decca, obviously, or Trend Studios. So somebody has them. I mean, you don't take them out and throw them in a bin and burn them, you know.
Did you search actually for them afterwards? Did you go to Decca? Did you go to Trend Studios to try and find this other person?
I went to Decca. They denied all knowledge of me. Nobody had the right to really decide what to do with them.
Yeah.
You know, whether they were good, bad, or indifferent, it didn't matter. You know, to us, they were precious.
Yeah.
You know, and to me especially, I mean, I've been writing. I have so much stuff written, and it happened again in Germany a couple of years later. I got married in 1972 to Mia, and I got an offer to go back to Augsburg from a guitarist friend, and Dieter Atterer.
That's easy for you to say.
And he wrote to me and said, look, we want you to come and sing with our band, and we will have big party for you and get you an apartment, and we have many gigs, and you please come. And so Mia and me were living in my mother's house, mother and father's house, and we decided, yeah, let's go to Germany. So I went back to Augsburg, Mia with me, and when we got there, the casino club was closed down, ready for demolition. The Zimmerman brothers, who ran it, were ran out of town. There was no party, there was no apartment, there was 1 gig a week. I'm newly married, and that's it.
Just when you think things can't get any worse.
So we ended up squatting in the casino club, staying in the same rooms. I used to stay upstairs and all sorts of... Anyway, it was rock bottom. I did a couple of gigs out in a place called Landsberg. Now, Landsberg is out of Augsburg a little bit, but in that vicinity is where they have the silos for the nuclear missiles that are aimed at Russia.
Okay.
So we'd pass by this, and you could actually feel this energy in it. It's extraordinary. Anyway, we did a couple of gigs out, and this is where the Zimmerman brothers, George and his brother, had fled to.
Okay.
They were now living out there, and they had a little club, and we did the 1 gig, and then one night we just downtown Augsburg. We met this young kid from Switzerland, and I think he liked Mia, and he was going to college in Augsburg, and he was from a very rich family, loads of money, but he took acid every day. So we had a nice little house, so he brought us back to his house, and he knew I liked to smoke, so he gave me big lumps and gave money to Mia, and she go and cook the food, and he'd go and attend the school and come back. And so this was a bit better, you know?
Yeah, of course.
So we were kind of a bit more secure. And then one day we were going down to the local little supermarket, and we were walking down in this big Mercedes van. That was converted into like a camper as such. And walking past them, we're looking, wow, look at that. And I go, can I come in your bus? And, yeah. So we went to the shop, got the bits and pieces, come on back up. And the van was still there. And next thing I got to the gate and I see this small figure, and he kind of golden kind of hair, but a bit thin on top, and a kind of moustache, real blonde looking, and it was Max Ammersberger.
Okay.
He used to manage us in '69.
Wow.
And he's standing at the gate, and he says, "Ditch." So I want to talk to you. Come, we go inside.
Okay.
So we went in, he sat down, he said, look, there's a new band coming together, and they would like you to come and sing with them.
German musicians.
3 German musicians, 2 English guys.
Okay.
So they were all like from different bands like Ira Kinder, 00. Now these bands had albums. Ira Kinder had 8 albums out. They were a huge German band. And the guitarist was Muck Grow. Very kind of Jerry Garcia type look and player, you know. And it was the time of the supergroups. So again we have another manager, Jonas Porst, who was son of one of the richest families in Germany, and he didn't want to take part in the business, so they gave him money to feck off, and so we decided to manage bands. So we started putting all these bands together. Had about 10 different bands. So suddenly I'm plucked up, boom, out of there, in, and where did we go? I thought we were getting into the car. We walk out the gate, boom, 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 up into the van. Bam.
Okay.
Big double bed in the back.
Wow.
Max opens up the glove compartment, pouch. Flex it down to me in the back of the bed. Drum pipe, the whole lot. Enjoy.
Wow.
Bam. Straight up to Nuremberg. We stayed in a hotel. Woke up the next morning. Got onto a coach. And there was all these other different bands, groups of guys that were all coming together. So we were going as a treat to Berlin to see The Who and Golden Earring
Oh, yeah.
in the Deutschlandhalle. So we're there, boom, hotel, best hotel, and everything laid on.
Finally,
Heaven,
something
this
has
is
happened.
the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
You know.
Yeah.
So we stayed there a week or whatever. Just everything was laid on. So we're back in the coach, back down to Nuremberg, and then this house was acquired out in the country, a place called Meckelwind. And it was on a farm, the big old, now what they would call Alter Schloss in German. It means old castle.
Okay.
It was a big 10-bedroom house, you know, and all the car ponds around, and it was beautiful. So we moved in there, and
All of the band.
the whole band.
Okay.
And Mia was with me, and there was one other woman, no, two other women. The keyboards players woman and Mook. And then there was Heinz Schmidt. He looked like an Apache. He didn't look like a German at all, you know. And he was a real, you know. And Martin from Manchester, Martin Jones, I think, was on drums. And Davy Crockett on bass from Derby. And that was era. Yeah. So, again, we were there about a year and a half at least, and we did 7 songs, another 7 originals.
Okay.
And I did all the lyrics and they did the music.
Yeah.
And we played a lot of gigs, support with various people, big bands like Tangerine Dream, Kraftwerk,
Yeah.
Jeff Beck,
Yeah.
Wishbone Ash. We were supposed to do a tour with Lizzie, and then Phil got sick. He couldn't do it. And,
So things are going really
things
well
were
for you.
going
this
really well. We had,
Very happy.
We had 7 songs again in the can.
Okay.
And
You
That
done a
was-
tour of Ireland as well, didn't you?
this is when that happened.
Mm.
Yeah. We had bookings in London in good venues. You know? So I came up with the idea. I said, look, you know, maybe if we need a little sort of a warm up, we could do a run in Ireland,
Okay.
because I'm fairly well known there,
Yeah.
and there's about And I'm coming home with this band, amazing, well rehearsed, you know,
Yeah.
And so I got onto the promoter. Somebody told me this guy is good and everything else. I said, now look, I'm in my office.
Yeah.
I need 12 gigs, man, and that's it. It has to be 12 gigs. There's 14 of us traveling, and there's trucks and cars and whatever, you know. And there's 9 definite. I said, we're not moving till the 12 is in.
Are you prepared to say who that
I can't remember his name.
promoter was?
I
Okay.
can't remember his name.
Maybe it's just as well. Go ahead anyway.
So we made the journey. He convinced us that everything was okay. So we got, and we met in the Zodiac, as it was then called, downstairs.
Brussels, yeah.
Yeah. Went in, And I meet this guy for the first time. Oh, you did, yeah, yeah. So the Germans are sitting there. Two English guys, they're okay, you know. The Germans are listening intently. Now, what is the schedule?
Schedule, yeah.
We're and the man's going, now, there's a bit about, there's 9 definitely confirmed. And the German guys are like, ooh, hello? No. Not maybe. We want definite. They were ready to get back into the van and go back.
I
Right there and
understand,
then.
yeah.
So I had big explaining to try and hold them, you know. I said, look, I can get another gig here and get, but the trust was gone. Right there and then. And we went, like Ben was saying earlier there about the gig, it was somewhere up in Sligo.
Sligo, yeah.
And that was a last minute thing that just came in and I took it. We did Belfield, we got one out there. I think we did the count, or Zeros,
Yeah.
as it was then called.
Yeah.
We did there. So that sort of rounded it off to about 10, 11 gigs, I think.
Okay.
And no, they weren't happy. So the last gig we did was up there in Sligo, and they were staying in that little hotel down there beside the Clontarf Yacht Club. You know, the Fingal House, was it? Or?
The Bram Stoker Hotel, is it, as it's now known?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were staying there.
Yeah.
So I was back home in Annaford. So I called him the next morning about 11 o'clock. And the woman said, can I speak to one of the band, you know, the Germans? Oh, no, they're gone. They left early this morning, 6 o'clock for the ferry. What?
Gone.
So they literally got back from Sligo, packed all the stuff into the van. Gone.
Were you under contract, Ditch?
Not officially, no. I don't remember any sort of, no.
So you never got to play those gigs in London?
No.
What a pity.
And another 7 songs.
Gone. Seems to be the...
Now, I can remember
history.
one of them, Man in the Park. And it's lodged in here in my head, you know. Many times I passed this way, the grey-haired old man said, wandering in 1,000 years, just searching for my bed. If you know a way to help me, please direct my way. But I fear, as usual, there's no truth in what you say.
Cool.
I've been beyond the land of water, I've been beyond the sky. The melody is still here in my head. You know, it's big. Down, boom, 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 boom. It goes on. It's about 7 minutes long, that song. You know.
And as was with your last 7 songs, there's no trace of these mastered.
No. This is what happened. And this leads to Lanzarote, and I'm going past. I'm in Lanzarote to do a couple of months gigs in Charlie's. You know, well, for Marina Ryan actually.
Okay.
And there a day or so, and I'm walking past and I see photo Porst. You know, Porst was like P with the 2 little dots over the O, or ST. So that's what the family, they owned all these camera shops.
Okay.
All over, everywhere. You know what I mean? And they're very rich, old aristocracy, German aristocracy, if you like. And
Okay.
So I went in, and I had heard that Jonas, the manager of all Era and all these other bands, was living in the Canaries, but in Las Palmas. So I thought, I'll go into the shop here now. They might have his phone number, you know, while I'm here, you know. I walked in, a young guy, Pakistani guy, whatever. Come on, hello, can I sell you a watch? Nah, I said, I have a watch, you know. Camera, no. I said, Jonas, do you know Jonas Porst? Oh, yeah, I mean, Jonas, yeah. I said, do you have a number for him? So he went in the back. And next thing, 4 or 5 guys come out. What you want? I said, your man there is getting me a phone number. Jonas Post, he used to be my manager. I'd just like to call him and say hello.
Uh-huh.
And, oh, Jonas Post here. Yeah, you go. So they became very aggressive. And what's going on here, man? So I left. And I walked across onto the prom. I sat in a little wall and I'm looking. It's very strange. Next thing, boom! 2 cop cars arrive. Guardia Civil, whatever. They're running in. And all the guys are out. Look, he went that way or he went So I flipped over the wall. This is weird.
This is bizarre.
It's very bizarre.
Yeah.
So anyway, I had to think what would happen if I looking for Brian. But yeah, and the story goes on from there. That's another complete episode of just absolutely insane,
Obviously
crazy.
Obviously,
crazy
these
stuff.
guys were in trouble. The Porsts, or would that be the situation? No.
I don't know, but Jonas Post did appear within a couple of days.
Okay.
But by this time, some of the spiked drinks, I was thrown out of the band by Charlie Chapman. The drummer, Ian Anderson, he sided with me. He didn't care. The family house had just been sold. He had $100,000 in the bank. He didn't care.
I remember that time, yeah, Ian, yeah.
So he was kind of siding with me. Charlie didn't like him anyway, you know. So, young John McCann was there in Lanzarote, so he stepped in for the drummer, and Charlie placed himself as the lead singer.
Oh, okay.
And we were persona non grata all again.
So you're back to Dublin again, or did you continue on in Deraditch?
Well, they tried to kill me there, basically. Yeah, I'm not kidding you. They did, you know. I'm not saying who or why. I went looking for my manager to see if I might be able to get a copy of my songs.
Okay.
Just a cassette.
Yeah. Simple request.
That's it. And all of a sudden, all hell broke loose.
So you're saying there was people actually looking for you to kill you?
Well, I thought so at the time.
Yeah.
Because I was beaten to a pulp and I was left for fucking dead. I had a bottle in the face here, you see, there's the scar there.
Yeah, yeah.
2 English guys, bar owners, they jumped us. They threw Ian off a roof. You know, I mean, he's like a catman, you know. He hit a palm tree and just rolled on and wandered down the road. Me, I'm heading for the clinic, you know, the blood, you know. And then I got lost, and I just completely lost for about 3 days, wandering out all over Lanzarote, and till I eventually made it back to the Crack and Coal vicinity, and then Marina came in and seen me, and she nearly lost her mind, and Charlie came in, and and he went, where's the poster? And I caught that. Now at this point, I'm in a different zone altogether. I'm picking up on every single little movement.
Yeah.
You know, and what's true and what's not true.
Yeah.
You know, this was ridiculous, you know.
So,
So, like, my face is out here and big scar and, you know, stitches and...
are you still trying to figure out why?
Yes.
You've no answers whatsoever. You're going, what is going on here?
All I wanted to do was find my songs.
Yeah.
And retrace that, you know, and see if there was anything in it. I mean, why was everybody being so protective of the song? Why did Decca deny all knowledge of me when it's plain to see? It's on the record.
Yeah.
There's the name.
Yeah.
The date, everything. We don't remember giving you 10 grand.
I wish somebody would come up to me and say that.
Yeah. So I went to head office, man. Right up and along the Thames. Walked in. Met the receptionist and I told her who I was. Around about 76, 77. Got the gig in the Much More Music gig in Morans. And it was a Thursday night and a Sunday.
Was that run by a chap called Donald Corvin originally?
Originally, yes.
Yeah, I remember him. Lord rest him, yeah.
Ah, lovely.
Lovely guy.
Lovely man.
Yeah.
Lovely
yeah,
man.
Yeah.
And then it was Declan Foley
Okay.
and Shaft,
Okay.
Brendan Jones. And then Smiley came in. But it was just me and Garrett. And Garrett would arrive on his bike. And we'd sit there waiting for the band. Who's the rest of the band? So it could be John Donnelly.
Yeah.
It could be Jimmy Slevin. It would be, it could be anyone.
Anybody.
Trevor Knight on keyboards.
Yeah.
It was great. It was a great time. And one time, I was uptown, and I didn't know who was going to turn up on guitar, so I was walking down Grafton Street, and near Bewley's, there was this guy in a fringed suede jacket and beautiful leather hat, beard, playing a beautiful Gretsch. And he had a pig nose amp.
He was busking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd never seen a pig nose amp. What's this? And he was playing all this great stuff, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. So I stood and watched him, and so I said, hey, look, I've got this gig in down in Moran's Hotel in Talbot Street. So, yeah, would you like to come down? Oh, yeah, I would love. So I wrote down an address, how to get there and everything. Sure enough, he turned up. So we got down there. There was a queue all the way down into Amiens Street. It was Phil's birthday.
Philip Lynott. Okay.
And he had a surprise arrive in town. Word went out, bang. They were going to play in Morans.
Okay.
I didn't know anything about it. Got in. There's Garrett, here's this German guy. There was a few, I forget who, it could have been Jimmy Fogg or Jimmy, I don't know. So anyway, we got on and that place is packed. It jammers and Philo's in the back, and so we went on and started playing and boom, boom. Your man was amazing, the German was great.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how many songs we did, but so we came to Red House Blues. So we're doing this and it's great. Next thing, Philo walks on the stage, and the whole place erupts. It went crazy, man. People surging through, and the Duns, and they were like the protectors,
Okay.
They're all up the front, they're popping people all over the place. I'm going, here, Phil. No, we can't have this. Phil, you better get off quick. I'll finish it off, man.
Yeah.
Okay, man. So, boom, boom, boom. I finished the song, went in the back, boom. And Phil's there, oh man, this is crazy. So then, there's all these guys coming out, and they're going on next. Who is it? The Boomtown Rats.
I was there that night.
So me and Philo were sitting in the back. Somebody passed a nice big doobie, and we were sitting there chatting, and next thing the Rats started up, and Phil's going, what the fuck is that, man?
Yeah.
I said, I don't know, man.
In fact, I was there, Ditch, and I was talking to you that night.
Yeah. And we were all in the back, right? And you couldn't get out, and you couldn't get to the jacks.
Yeah.
So you remember there's a little annex,
Yeah.
kind of there, sort of windows.
I do, yeah.
And I went out to have a look at the Rats in action, and Phil was staying around. So anyway, I came back. I was dying for a piss. I have to go over, take a piss. So I went in and opened up the gates, and some bird in with Phil. I'm going, fucking man.
Cut that out.
I'm having a piss anyway, I don't care, man. So, Lizzie went on, and the fucking place erupted, man, you know.
Yeah, I was there that night, and I remember talking.
And they didn't play for too long, I think, because it just got crazy, wasn't it?
It could have got dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I remember talking to you about the Boomtown Rats, and I'm saying to you, I really don't like this type of music.
Yeah.
And you said, I don't like it either, Ben.
That's right. Yeah.
I remember that
Yeah.
well.
And Philo didn't either.
Yeah.
We were all sitting there looking, what the fuck?
Yeah, what is this?
Yeah, exactly.
It's it's not music. That's the way we felt. And
Yeah.
of course,
Yeah.
they turned out to be an absolutely great band. They're
Oh,
back on the
without
road
a
now,
doubt.
and they're superb musicians.
Oh, without a doubt, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Moran's Hotel, remember that well.
And then afterwards, the after gig party
Mm-hmm.
was down in Castletown House in Leixlip.
Okay.
So a few of us got the word and said, right, we're all going down, jumped in vans and cars and everything, headed down to Castletown. So when we got down there, got to the front and we could see the front of it, and it was the Black Cortinas, the DS were there.
Oh,
Dinny and the
okay,
boys.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So we got this, we said, here, go round the back. You know what I mean? So they drove around the back, and next thing, getting out of the van, or whatever, Philo and the whole gang of people are running out the back door. This, don't go in there. Dinny's in there, he's tearing the place. I wouldn't, come on, let's go. And everybody just boom. And that was it.
Oh, wonderful. Brilliant. Great story. Brilliant. So that was then. So that was what year, Ditch?
That would have been about 76 to... I got the shop in 76. Yeah.
Okay.
So I had it then up to 79.
Okay.
But then I developed, in 76, cocaine really arrived in London.
Okay.
And I went on a shopping trip to London ostensibly for 1 week. And I stayed 3-4 months. So Mia followed me over after about 2 or 3 weeks. And she's saying, are you coming home? I waiting on the stock to come in.
Yeah.
So the coke had arrived.
Of course, yeah.
And everybody just... Like Zara, you remember Zara from Liverpool, Black Zara? You
Yes.
see all the copper work.
Yes,
and
I
the
do.
dandelion,
Yes, very well.
Josh McCauley, Sean Kelly, the Duke, Jerry Cullen, used to call him the Duke. I mean, all these guys were over in London, and they were the best in the, they really were.
Yeah.
So in 76, when I went on the shopping trip, they were living in a house in Bishop's Avenue, Hampstead. But it was under license from Barclays Bank. So they were paying a tenner a week. Bishop's Avenue with Millionaires Roman,
Wow.
So I arrived to see me and, Des, come on up, we'll show you where we're living. There's a room, you can have that room there now. Tenner a week, is that okay? I said, great. Brian Eno used to come over. Gary Moore was in the vicinity. So it was just constant jamming, people jamming. We got some gigs in big houses up and down the Bishop's Avenue and that, and around the pool and all this.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to see an awful lot of gigs. We crashed the Bob Marley gig in the Hammersmith Odeon. We got in. I went in posing as the drummer, or the drummer from Average White Band. Hamish Stewart. Was it Hamish?
I don't know.
I looked like
I remember the band.
curly hair.
Well.
I mean, I went up. There was a stroke pulled in the door.
And did you see Hamish from Average White Band?
That's me.
That's more
I went
of a
up.
Northern
I got the envelope. Yeah, there you go, sir. 3 tickets. Thank you very much. Bob Marley. Fucking great, man. I mean, you couldn't buy it. You could not get a ticket for that. So anyway, that was Zara and all that. We all got in that night. Then there was the other gigs down in Nebworth. So I'd never really gotten to see that amount of gigs.
Yeah.
Because I was working myself, so I never really had much time to go and just go and see the gig and not do anything else, watch and take it in.
Yeah.
So that was 76, and then the Morans thing, and it went up to 79, but then the habit just accelerated.
The cocaine habit.
Well, and it went down from there. From Charlie arrives, and then Uncle Henry's not too far behind.
Okay.
You know, so
Okay.
I went that way, and then, well, 79, I came down with double pneumonia and septicemia and pleurisy and all was coming. And then I went to see Guru Maharaji, an event in Florida. And I sold up everything in the shop for half nothing. I just got money, a couple of grand together, and I went.
Mm.
And then begins another story.
The life of a rock and roll singer, huh?
So you know the book On the Road, Jack Kerouac?
Yes.
Well,
You.
for 5 months. And I've written that story. So I've written a lot of the stuff.
Ditch, extremely interesting, tragic, happy life you've had. Do you have any regrets?
It's it's a hard word to the missing songs. Yeah, that's but the rest, no.
It goes a long way back down a lonely gypsy road. Through a million days and nights of magic, music, and love. Across the continent of countries, sometimes staying for a while. And everywhere you travel, people greet you with a smile. On the long road, long, long road, in 1,000 different guises, like the shadows in the night. Like the leaves on trees at midday, basking in the hot sunlight. Waiting and inviting me just to take another step. On the road to final freedom, I feel someday we'll make a jet. On the long road, on the long